All right, well, here we are. It's episode 8. Episode 8 is done. So we are now officially one episode away from the show being over, from The Last of Us finally being over. Not that I want it to be over or am I excited. But I just finished the episode, and most of it was lots of things about it were working for me, some not so much. This was the episode that Troy was in. Troy Baker, who voiced Joel in the game. So it was cool to see him acting in something because I haven't seen him in anything before that I'm aware of. I don't know if this is his first live action role, probably not, but his acting was okay. It wasn't mind blowing. He looked he looked kind of gaunt to me. I don't know, this good makeup, but he looked like he was actually like lost the weight. So I don't know if that was just good makeup or whatever, but so we open with Joel. Alright, well, don't forget to like and subscribe first before I go any further. But yeah, we open and Joel is still sick. He's still injured. Ellie is tending to his wound the best way she can. She doesn't really know what she's doing. So we still see her where we left her. Then she goes out hunting because what else is she going to do? And that's where she meets the creepy cult guy, Dave. Dave is another one of these characters that seem to have some type of power over a collection of people for whatever reason that they don't explain. They just listen to him, and they all seem to be scared of him, but they don't really talk about why. But here, after Ellie shoots a deer successfully, she follows it and meets up with Dave, and Dave is there with his best partner James, played by, of course, Mr. Troy Baker, who voiced Joel in the game. We all know he was going to be in the show in this episode. But it still begs the question of how are they going to cram everything else left to do in one episode? It still makes me think that they're only doing half the game for the first season. I'm still thinking that because there's still so much left to happen. I still haven't seen Ellie's mom, which it would be crazy if they took all that stuff from the trailer out, because they do that, but that would be strange. Plus, they had her as the cast for a previous episode, but she wasn't even in it, like 2 episodes ago. So I'm not sure what that was about. So yeah, Ellie's out hunting, and then she meets up with Dave and James. And Dave is this friendly guy, but he just has this way about him that you just know something's not right with him. So yeah, they meet up, and Ellie agrees to give him some of the deer if they can go back. If they can give him some medicine. At first she was like, just go away, turn around, walk away. But then they come to agreement because Dave is kind of slick, and she agrees with trading some of the deer for some penicillin. So James runs off and comes back, and then setting up a moment that I knew it was going to happen. Because sometimes parts of this episode were kind of cliche and just things you've seen before done in shows, and I'm kind of wish, well, they could have done better than that. But then Ellie agrees to the plan, and then they just sit in this kind of shack with a fire, and then there's talking and talking, a bit more talking than I felt like I needed to hear right now. Just basically Dave telling her his entire life story for whatever reason. So again, we're learning so much about these characters only for them to die at the end of the episode. So it's just like the episodes earlier where that lady was so powerful but also mean and awful and harsh, and then she just dies at the end of the episode. And then this one, spoiler alert, ends the same way. They're there and they're talking, and then of course, I guess Dave was planning on just distracting her enough for James, played by Troy, to show up behind her, and then they end up, then they Dave just lets her go. Dave lets her go so they can track them back to where Joel is, because they want to take out Joel, because they know he's the guy that killed someone from their group. Ellie runs back and starts pumping him with the penicillin. She doesn't really seem to know what she's doing, but she just somehow magically does it right. So that's the one thing that kind of bothered me. She just, maybe, I don't know how she knows to do that, but she just digs penicillin right where he's injured. So hoping that will work. So while Joel is kind of still lying there on the mend, he's like just kind of out, and which is another thing that bothered me of how later on when he does get up, he seems to be okay pretty quickly. Like he's kind of limping a little bit, but that was a pretty serious injury. You don't really tell us how long he's been like there. They've been there, but Ellie goes outside to just kind of chill with the horse, maybe go get some supplies, and she sees that Dave and his crew have tracked her back to where they are, potentially to get rid of Joel and maybe her. She's not really aware what their intentions are. But then she distracts him. And then she tries to distract them with the horse firing at them in the street. And then there's a bit of a chase. And then we get to see some more of Troy, as James and his constant hesitation. Like this is exactly like the relationship in the other episode with that lady and the guy who played Tommy. He was also he's blindly following this person, even though they don't really explain why everyone is just so scared of this person to basically not defy anything they say. So that's the second time that happened. And here we have Joel, after she just gave him the knife, he's kind of coming to. But again, how quickly he was able to go from that to stabbing a guy was a little bit too fast for me, I thought. These are things that, they do in shows and whatnot. But I thought that was a bit much. But Ellie, she's shooting at these guys in the street to distract them and get them away. And then she's on her horse. There's a small chase. And then, of course, they have Troy shooting her. Troy is the one that shoots her. I guess he shoots the horse, and then she falls off. They don't really make it clear that she was shot at first, but because Dave didn't want her dead, they just shoot the horse, and she falls off. So then, sad that the horse died. Then, of course, we're downstairs at the house where one of the guys was part of the crew looking for Joel. They see the little barrier that Ellie pushed across the door, which, was her screw up. It ended up kind of a screw up on her part that ended up with someone dying. But Joel, kind of very quickly, I think too quickly, goes into crazy mode and just stabs this dude. But then we go back to Ellie. She's in a cage. She's in jail. Dave has put her in there, and he's talking to her about her and him and how they're kind of similar. And she's like, He's like, I don't really want to kill you. I want you to be part of our group. But that doesn't work out too well because Ellie's being Ellie and defying him and telling him to fuck off, basically. Then we go back to Joel again, and he's torturing both these dudes. He's full on crazy mode again. He sometimes he goes almost too far, and you're questioning, does he really need to kill all these people all the time? But he does what he got to do. He tells the guy where they're at, stabs the one guy, and then smashes the other guy in the head. So again, he's kind of very quickly able to move around easily, even though he still has that huge wound on his stomach. That bothered me. Then Ellie sees an ear on the floor, realizes these people are cannibals, and she's just kind of more of the moral questions of you're a monster, you're an animal, and she's like, but the guy is like, he used to be a preacher, Dave used to be a preacher or a teacher, and now he's a preacher, and the apocalypse is how he quote unquote found God. But then they take Ellie out, put her on a table, and they're ready to cut her up into little pieces. And just like earlier, there was a shot of some meat, and they aren't clear if it's animal meat or human meat, because they don't really get into that until a little bit till here. But Ellie's on the slab; they're ready to cut him up, and again, she's kind of doing her whole just delaying things. I mean, a few moments here were just kind of weak of how she was easily able to escape many times. Then even in the end, when she faces off with Dave in the climax, just like the knife was just right there. She just reached for it and cage his head in. But she gets away because that's what she does. Dave's looking for her in this restaurant here that looks like a place I might have gone to. Actually, I'm not sure if this is in Canmore, Alberta, or somewhere else. I think it might be somewhere else because I thought some of it to me looked like Canmore, but I don't know Canmore that well to be like, yeah. But here she is trying to hide from Dave. He's doing the whole crazy guy speech thing. You should join me. I don't want to have to kill you. Got a little cliche here, and then they square off. We almost think Ellie's gonna die. I thought this was gonna be when Joel would show up and kill him or whatnot, but instead she just grabs the knife that's just there within reach anyways and goes a little nuts. I thought this part was a bit, gratuitous. Like, I don't really think she needed to go that many times. Like, she hit the dude like 30 times. So, I mean, if they showed his head, it would have just be a pile of mush. But the place is burning down, and she manages to get out just in time for Joel to find her. But yeah, pretty a kind of pretty emotional moment here. I actually got teared up a little because you can see the love really forming between them, and especially for Joel when he says "baby girl" and he hugs her. That definitely choked me up. Even though I was waiting for a moment like that where he would say something that he once said to his daughter. But here he is. He's holding her. He's consoling her. He's like saying a baby girl. Then there's also a clear shot of the watch, just showing the mirroring of him with his daughter Sarah, and now he's with his new daughter, which is the core of the story more than anything else. It's all about their relationship. But overall, it was still a pretty amazing episode. In some of the parts where, you know, some of the areas where like Ellie was able to just get away, and Joel being suddenly better enough to be able to take on these dudes, even though he was like incapacitated not that long ago. Suddenly he's just able to get up. So yeah, he's able to just kind of get over this injury kind of a bit too quickly. But again, they don't really give us a timeline of how long he was out. But a great episode nonetheless. So that's it, episode 8. We got one episode left, and I'm still so very curious and confused of how they're going to fit everything that's left in the game in one more episode, which still makes me think that they're cutting the season in half and doing the rest of the game 1 next season, even though there's already been rumors about Abby being in next season, who's in game 2. So it's kind of hard to say. I'm just wondering how they're going to be able to wrap up the rest of the story that I know is there in, one more episode. But what do you guys think? Let me know. Like and subscribe. Leave your comments. Thank you so much for watching.